Hey everybody, welcome to Crossover Attack, where it's 24/7. Gang, gang, ice cream so good. I'm Eric. I'm Eric Freshley here from Freshley Stream Games, joined by Hunter Davenport of Comic Club and Fantasy Zone.
And I'm not an NPC. I promise. I'm not an AI.
A little bit.
Maybe a little bit if the money's good, but I like to keep it real.
I actually am realizing I forgot to add something, but we got a lot to get into this week. We missed last week, unfortunately, but so this week's going to be extra long. Plus, I've been playing a ton of games. There's a ton of stuff all of a sudden just started coming out. And as a matter of fact, now I'm going to waste time while I write this down. Okay, let's get into first Remnant II. I have been playing so damn much of this game. This is my number 2 right behind Zelda for Game of the Year. And honestly, it's close. If Zelda wasn't like an all-time masterpiece, this might be my Game of the Year. It's a combination of so many things that I love. And we talked about Remnant from the Ashes just a couple weeks ago because I was diving into it for the first time to prepare for Remnant 2. It's a combination to me of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, Destiny 2, and Monster Hunter, which are like my 3 favorite things. Plus a little Diablo in there as well, as far as the structure goes. So I think if you're familiar with the first game, you probably already know how good the gunplay is. And it's just as good, if not better here. And how creative some of the guns are. Almost every gun feels like an exotic from Destiny. And if they don't, you can add mods to it to make it feel like that. So it's like all crazy guns once you kind of get leveled up. What I didn't expect was how many secrets this game has. This is like, it almost feels, this is going to be a weird comparison, but it almost feels like Fez this first week where the community is just discovering stuff constantly. There's not many fun times to be had on Reddit these days, but the Remnant subreddit has been fun the past week because multiple times a day, people are finding crazy secrets. Then other people are like, wait, that doesn't possibly work. I'm going to go try it. And then 20 minutes later, they post back in, holy shit, it worked. I've never seen this gun before. This is insane. I've never seen this subclass before. This is insane. It's nonstop with... Destiny kind of has done that too. With raids and dungeons, there are always some kind of like, hey, you can beat the raid, and that's fine, but there's like 4 secrets in there you didn't find. In Remnant, that stuff is everywhere. Just yesterday, the game's been out a week now. I guess technically a week and a couple days because there was an ultimate version that launched like 3 days early. And just yesterday, the final subclass was discovered. At least we think the final one. There could be more for all we know. Which just goes to show you, in a week, these days in a week, everybody's discovered everything. Like, it's collectively. Mm-hmm. And man, this game is just a never-ending rabbit hole of that. They revealed 5 subclasses before the game launched, so we kind of just figured that was it. 5 subclasses, just like Diablo. There's, at least as of now, there's 10 in the game. 5 to start with, and then the other 5 have to be discovered, and they are not easy to discover. Some of them are easy, but most are not. And they all play so radically differently. The co-op is pretty seamless, the drop in, drop out. I've had a couple bugs. One, there's a dungeon right now we can't progress on, which really drives us crazy because a gun that I badly want is kind of at the end of this. So that's driving me crazy. Hopefully they iron that out straight. The scrap economy, scrap is cash essentially, and that's not very good. They've even talked about how they want to up that. We don't get enough scrap now to kind of upgrade all our weapons and buy other weapons and everything. But man, I'm endlessly impressed, and the fact that this game's only $50 is insane to me with no microtransactions. And I'm not, people know I'm not anti-live service. I'm not anti microtransactions even, but it just this really straddles a line where it's not a live service game, but boy, it has enough content to feel like one. Mm-hmm. Man, it's a rabbit hole. I absolutely love it. I feel like even now I'm not doing it justice. Oh, that's I knew I was forgetting something big. The procedural generation is crazy. Just as far as how many... all right, so there's 3 big worlds you have to go through in this game, plus 2 smaller ones, but 3 big ones. Those can come to you in any order. My friend that I'm playing with in his campaign, he got my last one, he got first, and vice versa. And then even within those worlds, you could fight totally different dungeons, totally different bosses, totally different layouts, find totally different secrets, find totally different guns. So, you have to run through this game multiple times to see everything, because it is so randomized. It almost feels like Hades in that way, but not a roguelike. How, some runs you'll run into, what's the guy who pushes the boulder? The curse of...
Oh, Sisyphus?
Yes. Some runs you'll run into him, and some runs you won't. It's like Remnant. Some runs you'll see totally different NPCs, totally different dungeons, stuff like that. Totally different end bosses. I've ran my first area. I've ran through twice, and it got totally different storylines in both, and totally different dungeons, and totally different bosses at the end. It's nuts. And I worry that at $50 they're not making enough money on this game, because what they're offering for so cheap is just fantastic. I do see, though, that they've hit like twice as many as their peak count of the first game as far as Steam numbers go. So it seems to be doing very, very well, which makes me happy because it deserves it.
Yeah, I was like, coming up with the release of this game, I wasn't necessarily confident that it would set the world on fire, but like everyone I know seemingly is playing it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's doing really well.
It really is. I hope they add crossplay. It's not in there now, and that's a bummer. But other than that, man, and they got 3 DLCs coming. But other than that, it's not like, there's no battle pass. It's not a live service game. Just has some DLCs coming. Very psyched. As soon as we get done recording, I'm gonna go play some more. I played all night last night. And it's kind of a shame that it released the same day as our second game to talk about, Pikmin 4, because guess what? I'm loving that also. Last Friday was a good day for me. Remnant 2 and Pikmin 4 were 2 of my most anticipated games of the year, and they both absolutely lived up to the hype. I haven't got to play as much Pikmin as I've wanted to because of Remnant, but man, I'm loving what I am playing. It is very much a streamlined, with improved quality of life stuff version of Pikmin's 1, 2, and 3, especially 3. Mm-hmm. The controls feel smoother. We've talked about how I used to struggle with the old controls of Pikmin's, although now I went back and played Pikmin 1, and maybe I was making a bigger deal about it than I needed to. It felt okay. Pikmin 4 feels even better. Pikmin 4 feels fantastic, as a matter of fact. They do a lot of... It's a pretty easy game, to be honest with you. And they do a lot of things to make it easier on you, like the auto lock on to things when you're throwing your Pikmin is super generous, but it's probably better that way, because this game could feel very clunky if it wasn't handled properly. You could argue that it has in the past. You got Ochi. Ochi's very useful now. He's very cute. Very useful. You have the nighttime expeditions, which actually where I left off, I was just about to start my first one, so I haven't done those yet. Mm-hmm. As far as I can tell, this is the first Pikmin that hasn't cut a color from the previous ones. Like, purples and whites were in 2, but not in 3, at least not the campaign. I think you could get them in multiplayer mode. But this one has all of them. Every Pikmin type that's ever existed, plus a couple new ones, like the nighttime Pikmin and the ice Pikmin. But they do limit you. You can only bring 3 different types of colors out at a time. So that's how they don't make it too easy that way. There is a rewind feature, but I always forget about it, so I've never used it. Even when I should have a couple times when I've done something stupid and lost 10 Pikmin at a time or so, but I never remember it. You can upgrade this time, which is new for the series. There's no time limit this time. You do have to, collect enough stuff to fill up a meter. When you fill up the meter, you get to the next area. So that's kind of how the progression works, but you're not under a stressful time limit anymore. It's just a charming, fun, crazy game that I wish didn't come out at the same time as Remnant 2, so that I could get back to it. But I will finish this. Both Remnant and Pikmin are in my top 5 of the year. Remnant's, like I said, that's probably number 2 right now. If you've never, there is a demo, by the way. Oh, one thing I will say, because this happened to me in the demo. The demo progress carries over into the main game. So if you're not sure, just play the demo. However, the first hour or so is some of the worst tutorializing I've ever seen. It's some of the, not like it doesn't tell you stuff, but just it is so start and stop so that they can talk to you. Start, and then they want to talk to you for a bit. Start, and then they want to stop you and talk to you forever. But after like an hour, that's all out of the way, and it's not a problem anymore. The cave sequences in this one are much more structured. They're almost like little puzzle boxes. It almost feels like a Portal level all of a sudden in the middle of your Pikmin game. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. Pikmin 4 absolutely rules, and if you've played the series before, definitely pick it up. If you're new, or even if you've tried it before and didn't really like it, I would at least encourage trying the demo because they have made this so much smoother, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. All right, I've talked a lot. Let's go over to you. Final Fantasy XVI.
So I played a bit more Final Fantasy XVI. I'd say I'm almost to the halfway point. I really like this game, but like I have these small little nitpicks that kind of annoy me a lot. So it is definitely a Final Fantasy game. There are people who are concerned it wasn't, and I'm like, it is definitely a Final Fantasy game. But with that, it is a Final Fantasy game designed by a team who makes a MMO. Right. And with that comes with some little things that are annoying.
We got some news on the MMO a little later.
Yes. The side quests, some of them are good, but like the majority of them are so boring fetch quest things that's like, wow, they really did not learn the right lessons from Final Fantasy XIV, and they just kind of transplanted them into 16. And it's kind of a bummer. I don't really particularly care for that. Yeah. And there's a lot of cutscenes in this game. It's not like I'm not someone who gets annoyed by that, but like there are times where it's like the game is like trying to convince you that Clive and his team are like in danger, and then once I'm in gameplay, I am like doing DMC style combos on everyone, and they're not even hitting me. And it's like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance between what's happening in the cutscenes and what's happening in gameplay. But it's still a great game. Like, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's definitely not going to be on my Game of the Year list, I think, because it's just there's too many games that I've enjoyed more than this, to be honest with you.
I'm actually a little surprised by that, because when you first started this, you seemed head over heels about it.
I was, and then I got to the part where it started to, like, become a Final Fantasy game. I was like, oh, okay, yep, nope, we're still doing this. Cool.
Good. How close do you say you are to the end, or do you know?
I'm about almost at the halfway point.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. You think you're gonna stay with it, or are you starting to?
Well, Baldur's Gate 3 comes out in 4 days, so hopefully.
Is it 4 days?
Yeah, it's August 3rd.
Damn, that snuck up on me.
So I'm gonna try, and if I don't, I'm gonna finish it at some point during this year.
You know, I've started to watch more, especially, I think it's mostly your fault. I've started to watch more YouTube videos about Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm starting to get kind of excited for it. Yeah. I'll probably wait till the Xbox version, which will probably be sometime next year, because I want to play it in co-op. But yeah, that game's looking rad. Problem with that game, a game like that, we ran into this with Divinity too. If you want to play it in co-op, you really need to commit. Like, you need to say, talk to your co-op partner and say, okay, we are playing every Friday at this time, no exceptions, blah, 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 because, like, or otherwise you're just not going to make any progress. We ran into that with Wasteland 3, too. We were playing that in co-op and enjoying it, but with, like, when you just kind of say, oh, we'll play whenever we have time, like, you're never going to make any progress.
No. It is going to be a D&D game for better and worse.
Yes.
So...
but I think we're going to try to do it with Baldur's Gate, and especially if we stream it, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What I had completely forgotten to write in our schedule, and I just remembered, I binged the entire season of Twisted Metal, the show.
Nice.
And I think people saw the trailers and everything, had low expectations. I had not high expectations, but I had higher than most people. I thought, it's going to be dumb fun. And it is. But I'll say surpassed my expectations. I really liked this show a lot.
I will say those trailers were awful. They're just not very well put together, from what I understand, and like not really representative of what the show is.
I mean, yes and no. It is a dumb show. Don't get me wrong. It is a supremely dumb show. I've heard a lot of people. I never watched Ash vs. the Evil Dead, but I've heard a lot of people make that comparison. It does kind of feel like that, and it also, I know some of the Deadpool people are involved. You can feel that too.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How much actual driving would you say is in the show?
Not a ton. Not a
Really?
Yeah, not a ton. It does feel, this show's low budget. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
And you can tell that. The last episode has a lot, and the first episode has a moderate amount. And in between there, not a whole... Well, I'll say not a whole lot of car combat. There's a lot of driving, but just like, it's, them driving along the hallway having dialogue scenes, not so much that action. But it's funny. It's really funny. And Anthony Mackie, man, he is a good, dumb himbo goofball, it turns out. Which I kind of didn't expect him to just play like such a good... Like, obviously he's funny in the Marvel movies, but in this he's just dumber, honestly, and he's good at it. I don't know what that says about him, but and the Sweet Tooth is excellent. There's not as much... Sweet Tooth and Anthony Mackie don't share the screen as much as you would expect. Honestly, they really only cross over at the very beginning and very end. And other than that, they're like almost two separate storylines with a common villain, I'll say. The villain is despicable. He's very easy to hate. This show has more to say than I thought about police, honestly. And they're the villain of this show. And,
much like real life, yes.
Yeah. No, never mind, I won't say this. But I got family that's about to become a cop, which...
okay.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that, but whatever. He's a good kid. Anyway. That'll drive me crazy. Sweet Tooth at some point, I guess this is a small spoiler, but not really. Sweet Tooth at a certain point in the show just decides to become like a hunter of cops.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's really not what I expected. And yeah, by the end there are a few there's more statements made than you would expect out of a Twisted Metal show, which is like you would expect zero. It's really, really cool, and it has nothing. By the way, this has absolutely zero similarities to the game's plot at all. None. Like, forget about that. Go ahead.
Is Calypso in the show at all?
That's a spoiler.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but like he's mostly a tease for the next season, I'll say that.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah. There's a couple things in there like that are sometimes they will do the 90s video game movie thing where they'll just kind of like name drop a character or something, just kind of like, we see you, and like I think we're kind of past that point overall. But also this show is sort of makes that work because it does almost feel of that era, but in a good way in some ways.
Yeah.
Like it's corny.
Dumb fun.
Yes. Schlocky is a great way to describe it. It's definitely schlocky.
I will say Amazon does a lot better with these adaptions because they're not afraid to pump money into them. So I think if they can get more money for next season, this will be a much bigger kind of thing.
This is on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear you though. I do feel like there was a story the other day that Peacock's losing a ton of money.
Like 1.2 billion or something crazy like that.
I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see a second season for that reason. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope it happens. Samoa Joe's real good in it. Obviously, you don't hear his voice. Will Arnett does the voice, but he does the body really well.
Acting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who'd have thunk that a wrestler could be great at physical acting?
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So I really, each episode's only like 30 minutes. There's only 10. It's a pretty easy, breezy get through. I'd recommend it more than I expected to. And hopefully we'll see that game soon that they've supposedly been working on.
Maybe.
It's gonna happen. I believe.
Yeah.
They got so many live service games. Why wouldn't Twisted Metal be one? I gotta talk again, unfortunately. Exoprimal. There's actually not too much to say here because I only got to play one real session. But, most of the stuff I said about the beta holds true here, except, now I can opt out of PvP entirely, and that makes it a much more enjoyable experience for me. They do have 3 of the mechs locked in this, which, in the beta was not true, and that's kind of a disappointment. This game is live serviced up to all hell.
Oof.
There's a lot of battle pass, there's a lot of unlocks, a lot of emotes, a lot of skins. But it's fun, man. The action is just a good time, especially, it's a Game Pass game. So I don't know if I'd encourage anyone to spend $60 on this thing. But for Game Pass, yeah, I'm having a good time with it. Due to Remnant II being my co-op game right now, I don't know if I'll get back to Exoprimal, but they are adding some new mechs soon that seem neat, so maybe I'll check that out too. Plus, there's a Street Fighter collaboration and a Monster Hunter collaboration on the way. There was something else I was going to say about it. Now the storyline's is in there more. Some people are enjoying it a lot. I didn't care, honestly. This is not a game where I care about the story, so I've skipped most of it. Now, this is something I'm going more about what I'm hearing because I haven't played enough to know this, but apparently the game seems content light up front, but as you level up, more and more modes unlock, more and more maps unlock, and apparently it takes some kind of surprising twists in there. So I worry that some people are going to just drop it from the beginning because it seems content light, but apparently all that stuff is backloaded. So if you stick with it, you're rewarded, but I worry that some people won't. They have gotten over 1 million players, mostly due to Game Pass, I think. You look on there, it does have crossplay, and you can see symbols by everyone's name. You hardly see anybody on PC, and you hardly see anybody on PlayStation. It's almost all Game Pass. Even though it's on PC Game Pass, too. Go ahead.
It's unfortunate, but every time I look at this game, I'm like, wow, this looks really impressive. Imagine if Capcom put this level of effort into a remake of a beloved PS1 game that everyone's talking about, Dino Crisis.
I think they will when they get done, when they finish up with Resident Evils to remake.
Yeah, I think they will too. It's just like, come on.
Yeah. At this point, I guess their options are Code Veronica 5 and 6, but I don't know if people really want that, especially 6.
5 has insanely problematic stuff in it, so maybe don't.
Yeah. Other than that, they could do Code Veronica. They could do 0, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe improve some of the things that people don't like about that game. And then, it's been a long enough time. I know they've done a remake of 1 before, but it's been a long time. They could do that again.
They could.
Otherwise, I think, it's time to jump over to Dino Crisis, and which I'd be more excited about because I don't like horror. And I know Dino Crisis is also kind of horror, but I don't know. Dino
Crisis is dumb horror.
Yeah. I would be into a Dino Crisis remake, even though I've never played the series.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were playing Godfall, but you're not.
I'm not.
You're playing Greedfall.
So this game came out a while ago, and Nacom, I think, and just announced the sequel, or did it last year or something like that?
Last year.
It was on Greedfall was on sale on Games Planet, and I was like, I'm going to purchase that and play it, and I haven't played it. And this is a great RPG. This game is really good.
Yeah.
I'm really loving this game.
It's a Eurojank one, right?
It is very. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it is definitely. There's some jank there.
All right. Is it what kind? Is it action combat, turn-based combat? What are we looking at?
It's actiony.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it. It's very much The Witcher's combat. If I had to describe anything to it. It is a BioWare game, too, pretty much, without the wheel, but it is definitely a cinematic RPG.
Nice.
It's very, very good. I really love that game.
What kind of character are you rolling?
I'm just doing action, because, I don't dare to, mess with the magic system at all, 'cause I'm like, I don't want to see what that's like.
You're a sword guy?
Yeah, swords and pistols. The whole game has this really cool, piratey slash, early, 1700s France aesthetic. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't really know. I know hardly anything about this game. So that's kind of the tone. Can you kind of give me a rough, long overview of the plot, or
So, the idea is that you are a legate and you are going
what?
over a legate for the. It's a whole thing. Like the idea is you're like a general army guy, and there's a plague going around the land. I think it's called Malchior, and you have to go to this place called Tyr for a day for a cure to this plague. And that's as far as I've gotten so far. I'm over at Tyr for a day, looking around.
Wow.
Curing plagues, yeah.
Is that getting you pumped for Baldur's Gate, I would imagine?
Yeah, for sure. Because as soon as that comes out, I'm dropping every game like whatever I'm playing, and I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3.
All right. Well, our final game, I got to actually talk about a news story first to explain why I played it at all. Seemingly, out of nowhere, a bunch of matchmaking's getting fixed on Xbox 360 games, including all the Call of Duties for Xbox 360. Now just the matchmaking works, and it seems like the hacker situation's been smoothed out, and now those are some of the best-selling games on Xbox, these 15-year-old Call of Duty games, but all the lobbies are full in them, which is absolutely crazy, and just, I would assume... So that happened first, the Call of Duty games. And we assumed that the reason that's happening is because this Microsoft Activision deal seems to be winding down, and those games are going to be on Game Pass very, very soon. So they wanted to get them all ready. Then another game happened, which I'm going to jump over that one. But then the last one was Gears 1 through 3. Now matchmaking works on that, which I would like to play Gears 3 Horde mode. That is my favorite part of Horde mode. Mm-hmm. But the middle one in there that I skipped over was Shadowrun from 2007. Which is our final game to talk about because I played it. I streamed it, as a matter of fact. It's on my channel. It was my first time playing that game. I was always kind of curious about it because I'm a fan of Overwatch, and I know this was sort of a precursor to Overwatch, and I think it came out after TF2, but it's in that vein. You know what it feels like to me? I've never played Valorant, but it does, like it's Counter-Strike with magic, right? So
kind of, yeah.
So it does feel almost identical, at least on paper, to Valorant.
Yeah, like similar ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you bring this up because my experience with a Shadowrun is the original Sega game that came out, and Shadowrun Returns.
Yes.
So I've only played the RPGs. I've never played the first-person shooter.
The guy who was behind Shadowrun Returns was also behind this.
Really?
Guy named
Okay.
Jordan. Is it Weisner? Jordan Weissman. He used to work for FASA Studios at Microsoft. FASA got shut down, which is a damn shame. They had such a great track record. And then he made Harebrained Schemes, which then made the Shadowrun games, and also made BattleTech, which also, at FASA they made MechAssault, and BattleTech and MechAssault are the same universe.
And those games are really good if you never played them.
So he started his own studio and basically started licensing the same franchises from Microsoft, except now he's doing RPGs instead of action games. It's kind of funny. Almost makes me wish that Harebrained Schemes is part of Microsoft just so that they could do this for real. But they got bought by Paradox now, which is fine. And now they actually, that game, The Lamplighters League, that's coming out later this year, they made the Game Pass deal, so there's another connection there. It's all a weird, the connections between Microsoft and Harebrained Schemes are funny, even though they're not the same. I don't know. Now that Harebrained's in Paradox, it's funny. But anyway, Shadowrun. It's Counter-Strike with magic, like I just said. And I played a giant troll guy, of course.
Yep.
And I was throwing trees out for healing. I tried the sword. I fucking failed with that, but I did better with just regular weapons. And, I don't play a lot of PvP games, but I had a really good time with this. It felt ahead of its time. Like I said, you can definitely see the Overwatch and how Overwatch was influenced by this. You can definitely see how Valorant was influenced by this. Even though it was never that successful, it did just feel like it did shape a lot of other games. And the servers are now full, so that's really cool. Even though, it's not on Game Pass. Maybe that'll change soon.
That's weird.
Yeah, isn't it? There's a couple, 360 games that are first party, like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, not on Game Pass.
Yeah, it always... Blue Dragon I understand because the game's bad. But
wow!
Lost Odyssey is the one where I look at and I'm like, why isn't that on Game Pass?
Yeah. There's a couple of those 360 games, the first-party ones, that are strange. And even I think Xbox One might have a couple first-party games. Like, I don't know, is Crimson Dragon on Game Pass? I don't know.
I don't think it is.
That's, weird shit. So get out there and play some Shadowrun. It's only $15, and I imagine the servers won't be full forever, but for now they are. I did not have a hard time getting a game. Or just watch my stream. Either way. All right, that's a lot of games. A lot of games. Let's move on to our topic of the week. As we mentioned earlier, this Microsoft Activision deal seems to be winding down. Feels like in a month from now it could be done deal. I mean, maybe the FCC will still fight it even after it's a done deal.
Somehow, but lose again.
Yes. Waste everybody's time.
And tax money, yeah.
Yeah, and just make hurting actual needed regulation by them.
Yep.
Whatever. I mean, hey, listen, they are doing some great things as far as trying to abolish no competes and trying to help us with right of repair. So I don't want to see FCC's 100% evil all times, but they're blowing it on this.
Yeah, there's some things that need improvement. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, what we want to talk about are some games that were not possible or not likely under Xbox and Activision being separated that now we would like to see happen now that they're almost together. And I'll start with one. I think out of the three platformers, Crash, Spyro, Banjo-Kazooie, I think Crash is probably the most popular guy, right? So I think Crash is probably going to get his own game. That's fine, but with Banjo and Spyro, I think maybe they have a better bet, especially because they are coming from different companies, come from Microsoft and Activision. It would be eye-catching and weird if you saw them team up for a game, almost in an It Takes Two style thing, starring Banjo-Kazooie and Spyro. Banjo, of course, he has Kazooie, and Spyro has his little dragonfly partner. So, there could be... You could do something with them each having their own little sidekick thing. You could do some stuff with their different abilities because they, obviously do very different things. And then, of course, Crash will get his own game, too. But that I think, could elevate both Banjo and Spyro to have them do this sort of it'd be, a stunt, almost. I don't know. It'd just be a wild thing that nobody would expect, and I think it would catch some eyes.
The last time they tried something with this was those GBA games, and those aren't very good, but they could try again. I mean, it's not crazy to think there'd be a crossover.
Absolutely. I mean, it also kind of reminded me of, you remember Heroes on the Move? It was a PlayStation Move required game that teamed up Sly, Ratchet, and Jak and Daxter. That was a PlayStation Move game, so it wasn't very good. But I kind of like the idea. You could do all three, Banjo, Spyro, and Crash all together, just not with move controls.
It is funny that game has two characters who are now owned by Microsoft, or essentially owned by Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. How about you go? Give me one.
So, I really enjoy. There was King's Quest. Those King's Quest games remake came out a while ago, and I really like those games. But I feel like they could definitely revamp King's Quest into more of a platformer or an action game type thing, or even an RPG. So I'd like to see someone at Microsoft, take King's Quest and kind of make its own thing with it and make something new for new audiences to enjoy.
Sort of like that new Prince of Persia that they showed. That's 2D one. Yeah,
that'd be really cool if they took King's Quest and made it a 2D platformer or something cool like that.
Absolutely.
Same with Space Quest. Space Quest would also be very interesting if it's given to Obsidian or something.
I don't know Space Quest.
Space Quest is okay. So here's the elevator pitch for Space Quest. Okay. It is a humorous sci-fi game where you play as a janitor who has, I think the name of the enemies are literally the Fun Police.
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, you're basically a space janitor who fights cops.
Oh,
So that's pretty cool.
was that Activision too?
That was Sierra, but Activision owns their rights.
Yeah, Sierra's under Activision now. Same with King Quest for that matter. Yeah, also Activision owns Pitfall. Also, they should they should start putting some of the classic games at least on Game Pass. Maybe bring back Xbox Game Room or something.
Well, they have that new cloud thing. But
that's not owned by Microsoft. But yes,
okay.
that is now it's on Xbox. It used to be on PC only.
That thing is really cool.
It seems like it. Yeah. I'd like to try it. I don't know if there's like a demo or something. I just want to make sure that because I've actually not played many cloud games. I just want to make sure it works okay before I spend money on it. But yeah, it does seem super neat. My next suggestion, as we know, they canceled the majority of the PvE stuff in Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
But it makes me think of how many shooter characters Xbox is going to own now. Halo, Wolfenstein, Doom, what's the Quake, Call of Duty, and even characters who aren't necessarily from a shooter, but the Dovahkiin could use a bow. Banjo shoots Kazooie, etc., etc. They could do. You don't want to do a PvP hero shooter because you already have Overwatch, right? But they could do the PvE stuff that was going to be part of Overwatch and make it a separate game. Now maybe make it third person to make it just so that it's different from Overwatch. But they could do all their characters, especially, if they're not going to do the Smash Brothers game that I badly want, or the Power Stone 2 game that I badly want, this would be another good way to go. Make it a PvE hero shooter with all their characters. And then you could have the enemy groups could be the Covenant or the Locust from Gears. Or
my suggestion would be the little the little robots from Astro's Playroom.
Yes.
Legally distinct robot, Sony looking Astro Playroom robots.
Nice.
And just just to inflame the fans further.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, even Crash and Spyro could be part of it. Spyro could shoot his fireballs. I don't know what Crash would do, but he throw dynamite, whatever.
Just spin around.
Yeah, sure. You could have a few melee characters. Overwatch has a couple melee characters. But I'm thinking in the vein of a Remnant 2 or even a, what's that other game? Warframe. Something like that, but with all their hero characters. Marcus Phoenix and a StarCraft guy, Nova from StarCraft, and Jim Raynor from StarCraft.
Starfield Man.
Constellation Explorer.
Vault Dweller.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot in there now. Give them all their own abilities, throw different maps in from different games in the universe. Like I said, I'd prefer the fighter, the platform fighter, or party fighter, or whatever, but this is another route to go. You go.
So... The obvious one is the Zork remake. We need more Zork.
That was obvious.
Yeah, we need more Zork. But back to so there's two games actually. Okay. Pitfall.
Yes.
It seems like a no-brainer. They could make it their own Uncharted thing if they wanted to.
Sure.
And Gabriel Knight, which is also another point-and-click thing. But I feel like that could retrofit into a survival horror thing very well. I don't know who would make it.
I don't think I know that game either.
It's a PC point and click game.
Okay.
I believe that's also Sierra.
All right. We're going deep in the Sierra hole today.
That's right. I actually really love Sierra games. I haven't played a whole lot, but I've spent a lot of time on YouTube watching people play them, and I'm these games are really neat. And I'd like to see more of them, to be honest.
Absolutely. My last couple I mentioned already in that TikTok that I did a couple weeks ago, but the controller controls that they put in Age of Empires 2, I'd like to see them move over to StarCraft Remastered, StarCraft 2, and Warcraft 3 Reforged. I hope Warcraft 3 Reforged is in a better place these days.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't kept up with it, but I'd like to see all three of those put on console with those Age of Empires controls. And also the Coalition, after they get done with Gears 6, that'll be... They did Gears 1, 2, 3, and that was one arc. And now I assume Gears 4, 5, 6 will be another arc, so I assume Gears 6 will be the end of Kate's story. After that, if they want to do StarCraft Ghost, that'd be pretty damn fantastic. And then maybe they can get back to Gears after that. But I think they'd be a good fit to revive StarCraft Ghost.
StarCraft Ghost finally coming out, I think, would silence a lot of people who were previously on the anti-Xbox train.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing that I'd like them to do is explain why the C is capitalized in StarCraft, but it's not in Warcraft.
Oh, man. That is controversial.
Drives me fucking crazy.
I don't know if they can get into that.
Do you have any more?
Not really. Everything I really want to see is already kind of like just the Sierra games, because everything else they already kind of make, like Call of Duty. I'd like to see Call of Duty take a break for a little while.
I think Call of Duty is going to go to at least every other year rather than every year.
Yes.
My
hope is that Call of Duty take a break, and all these studios who make Call of Duty will get to make their own things. That's that's what I want. At the end of the day.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you there. And I think it's going to happen. Yeah. Actually, I will mention a quick thing I was going to mention in the news here, too. Hasbro just mentioned yesterday that they would like to see War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron return. Apparently, Activision doesn't know where the code is what they said. They said it's somewhere, or at least this is according to Hasbro, or at least one guy at Hasbro. He says it's somewhere in Activision's hard drive somewhere. So it's there, and they hope that when Microsoft acquires the studio, or acquires the publisher, they will look for it, find it, and put it up on Game Pass. Because the Hasbro guy even said it'd be great ads to Game Pass. So
yeah,
I agree. Especially, man, if they turn the online servers back on. I'd be very, very excited for that. I'd like them to give them a quick remaster would be ideal. But also, there is like a Destiny-like Transformers game coming soon. Well, at least supposedly. We heard about it like a year and a half ago and nothing since. But so yeah. Let's move on to the rest of the news then. We've already brought up 2 news stories already, but we got bigger stuff to talk about, including the PlayStation 5 Pro. It's back, I guess, and better than ever, or not. So this is from Insider Gaming. That's not Tom Warren. That's oh no, hang on, I'm bringing up the story here.
Major Nelson. No,
not
Michael
Major
Pachter?
Nelson. No, the story's not loading. But anyway, it's from a guy. Actually, this story's from Mike Straw, but that's not who I was thinking of anyway. Whatever, doesn't matter. PlayStation 5 Pro is being worked on. It's called Project Trinity. They want to try to get 4K 60 to be more of a standard, and they're even looking at 8K, and they're looking at more ray tracing things. Those are kind of their 3 targets right now.
There are no 8K TVs right now.
Absolutely.
What are they talking about?
I am not convinced that we need this thing at all. Like, it made sense last generation. Those consoles were weak. These ones aren't so bad, although we are hitting, some games that are 30 frames a second that I wish they were not, such as Starfield and, Redfall. But even so, I'm not feeling the pull for pro consoles.
I mean, I'm in the process of building a new PC. I'm like,
right.
I don't really need it. I have a Series X that does what I want it to. If I really want 4K 60, I'll just turn on my new PC. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And, not that I think like, hey, the answer doesn't always need to be turn to PC, but also like I don't know. It feels soon. It feels like people aren't necessarily asking for it. This feels like, and actually PSVR 2 is the same way. It feels like something that PlayStation is the most profitable division of Sony now, and so the rest of Sony, like the tech people, even the music people and the movie people and everything, are trying to get in with PlayStation. This feels like something that is not necessarily PlayStation led, but is Sony led.
Yeah.
And I think it was the same thing with PSVR 2.
That being said, I don't see this thing coming out for a year or so, to be honest.
Yeah, they're targeting fall of next year right now.
Yeah, I can see that, but like it's just I see people who are like, it's coming out. It's like this year. I'm like, no.
No. Hell no. I'm actually hoping this ends up being one of the things. Like, we heard about that keystone at Xbox, which was the streaming console, right? And they worked on it forever. We heard about it forever, and they said, we can't get the price right. We're canceling it. I hope that this thing doesn't actually happen. I hope they decide.
It's too early. It's just too early.
Yeah. I hope they decide there's not really a demand, because I don't believe there is. I don't blame them for working on it. That's fine. They should always be looking at this stuff.
Yeah.
But
I don't. I could see it like being an option for people who don't have PS5s yet. But like, even so, it's going to be expensive as all hell, and it's just like,
we're still supposed to get that slim with the detachable hard drive this year, supposedly.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I know PS5s just went on a big sale in Europe, which feels like they're trying to clear the stock to make way for that slim model to me.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that reluctantly. Final Fantasy 16. No, I'm sorry, 14. It's coming to Xbox. Finally.
The most insane news. I did not see that ever happening. I thought it was just...
They talked about it forever, and then in the most recent years have shut up. I thought it was dead. I thought
I did too.
It. And they brought it out with Phil Spencer at the Final Fantasy Fan Fest. They brought him out with the most dramatic music possible. It was hilarious.
Well, yeah.
And as part of this, they also said that, hey, we're going to... They kind of... It was almost like a... what's the word in a marriage where renew your vows? It almost felt like a renew your vows between Xbox and Square. So we're going to start working on some other games together too. Future games, we're going to partner up more. I think this is all kind of part of a deal that we had when they sold off, Square sold off Eidos and Crystal Dynamics. They were trying to be acquired.
Yep.
And I don't think it happened because the economy changed. And I feel like probably the best bet was Sony, and Sony was getting so much from them anyway. Maybe they didn't really need them.
Yeah, it doesn't. Honestly, like with Square Enix the way it is right now, like I don't like. What do you get Final Fantasy XIV, which is awesome, great, like one of the best MMOs. But like you get a bunch of JRPGs that really sometimes don't sell well. Like they're just, and you get Final Fantasy. That's it. Yeah. And Dragon Quest, which in of itself is like the biggest deal ever. But like, I don't think it fits in Xbox's portfolio, or like it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Ironically, I think they'd be a better fit for Xbox at this point because they need more Japanese games. But that's not going to happen either. I don't think.
No.
I don't think it's definitely. If it happens, it's probably going to be somebody like Tencent.
It's going to be a smaller. Whenever Xbox acquires Japanese studios, it'll be someone small.
Right.
Like,
I'm saying somebody acquiring Square.
For Square, yeah, it'll be like Tencent or that Saudi Arabian prince.
Yeah. Or maybe nobody, and this is part of their deal. Like, okay, well, this is Plan B. We need to make more deals. And get our games out there to everybody. I wouldn't be surprised to see them do even more mobile stuff, which they already do a lot of mobile stuff, but maybe even more. They also recently had they've had a CEO change, so this could be part of that as well. But yeah, like Final Fantasy XIV coming there is a big deal. Hopefully, this means that they will also port. Like, remember how weird it was when, like, a year after Octopath Traveler 1 was on Switch, all of a sudden they just surprised that, hey, also it's on Game Pass, which also, it was not part of Xbox before, and it wasn't on PlayStation before. And now Octopath Traveler 2 has skipped Xbox. Live Alive skipped Xbox. Dealford Chronicles did not, but
no.
Obviously, of course, there's Final Fantasy VII Remake, a lot of shit. So, hopefully some of that stuff coming over. Plus,
I find it interesting. This comes out after the news of Final Fantasy XVI's like crazy success, and I'm like, maybe it's coming to Xbox.
Yeah, I absolutely think it is. It'll come to PC first, but I think maybe a year from now or maybe next year's E3, Square comes out and said, hey, both 16 and 7 remake are on the way to Xbox, and 7 Rebirth. Is that the next one? I don't
yeah, Rebirth or Reunion or something like that. I don't remember.
Plus, they also talked about the next expansion, Final Fantasy XIV, which, can you talk about that at all? Because I can't.
So, it's called Dawn Trail, and it has a really cool tropical biome. I'm really excited. I have not finished all the Final Fantasy XIV expansions, so I have no idea what the story is for this. I'm still on Realm Reborn, so yeah. I'll finish that eventually and catch up to Dawn Trail because I really want to be caught up by Dawn Trail. And I doubt it's going to happen. So, yeah, it's got a really cool tropical biome. They updated the free trial.
How so?
So now they upped the level cap for the free trial. It used to be level 60. And now you get an extra expansion to play up to.
Nice.
Which I believe is Stormblood.
I will definitely try. I've always been slightly curious about 14, even though I'm not a Final Fantasy guy traditionally. I've always been slightly curious about it, and with that generous free trial, I will try it out. My biggest hurdle right now is Lisa really doesn't want to play it at all. Anything that looks vaguely anime or spiky hair, she hates immediately.
It is a hard sell. I will say that.
Yeah.
It is a very difficult sell, and it is. Be aware, it is an MMO. So
yeah. But let's say I do want to get into it. I need to buy the base game, and then all the expansions.
No.
And then a subscription.
So no, if you buy Endwalker, you get all the expansions.
Okay.
But you do need to buy Game Time.
What's that?
It's the subscription. Yeah.
Okay. So, it's confusing. But that does make it easier. If I Endwalker, and then will that change with Dawn? What would you say it was called?
Dawn Trail.
Will that get me everything?
I believe it will. That's how they've always done it.
Okay, that's not as bad as I thought then.
Yeah. It is not. They don't force you to buy all the expansions. As long as you get one, you get all of them.
That's better than Destiny. Except Destiny doesn't have a subscription. But
yeah.
Well, it does have seasons, which are kind of like that. Whatever. Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 was finally confirmed. It was leaked a while ago, but it's confirmed now. New characters include Raphael and Donatello, which makes all 4 turtles playable now.
Nice.
Squidward and Jimmy Neutron. Plus they're adding crossplay. And a campaign mode, which they have teased, has roguelike elements, boss fights, and minigames.
Ooh. Here's my question. Is Garfield back?
Yes, Garfield's back, and he's on the box.
Yes.
He's on the box. It looks like there's a couple characters from the old game that we didn't see yet, but we saw the vast majority of them. I'm expecting everybody will be back.
I can't wait to play this game.
Including the DLC characters. Garfield was in, Rocco was in. Graphically, it looks better. They said that they had to redo 90% of it. You know, sometimes I take like stats like that with a grain of salt, but it looks like they were surprised. Game Mill, the publisher, was surprised at how well the first one sold and really gave them a lot more budget this time. There's voice acting. All
right.
There's voice acting. Graphically looks better. A lot of the move sets are remade. It looks really shockingly good. For some reason, I never thought, a week ago, I never thought that Nick All Star Brawl 2 would be like one of the things I'm most excited about this year, but now all of a sudden it is.
I can't wait. I'm gonna play.
Especially because I can't play Multiverse until next year.
I can't. I'm gonna buy this game. I'm gonna stream this game. I think.
I probably will too, dude. I'll stream it against you.
Yeah, let's do it. Run the set.
I need Casey Jones added, even though people are already complaining about how many Turtles characters are, because there's for the 4 Turtles plus April plus Shredder was DLC in the last game. We haven't seen him yet in this game, but he's probably back. But I don't care. I want Casey Jones.
I love that the Turtles are the Fire Emblem characters on this game.
That's exactly the comparison people are making already. But I always push back on that because my biggest problem, first of all, I don't mind I love Fire Emblem, so I don't mind the shit them be there. But also, their biggest problem, quote unquote, is that a lot of them share the same movesets, which is not the case in Nick All Stars. All unique movesets.
It's also like I feel like those designs are so like very well done that it looks good to have a bunch of turtle characters in your game.
Absolutely. I hope they go more nuts on skins in this one, and you could have the different era of turtles, because you know their default, they're all the '80s turtles, but there's some newer kids. It'd be nice to have Rise of the Ninja Turtle skins and different shit like that.
Here's I want Odie. I want some more Garfield characters. Yeah, I want Odie. Let's get Josh from Drake and Josh.
So far, it's all cartoon.
Oh, that's so lame, though.
no live action thus far.
If they do, Josh is the one they want, or Crazy Steve.
I don't know who that is, but okay. I want Prince Zuko.
Yep, that'd also be good.
Which I think is very likely to happen, as a matter of fact.
God, I'm excited for this game.
Maybe even somebody else from Korra, besides... right now it's just Korra, unless you count Korra and Avatar as part of the same franchise.
I've never seen that show, so I don't know any of the Korra characters.
It's not as good as Avatar, but it's good. If you liked Avatar, I'd recommend it. I'd like to see another. They got Helga from is it Helga from Hey Arnold?
Yes,
but they don't have Arnold. Get Arnold in there. There's a couple characters that data miners have already found. Like, I don't know who this guy is because he's after my time, but apparently a guy named El Tigre.
Oh, El Tigre, yeah. He's like a luchador.
He's been data mined.
That's pretty awesome.
You know what? Who I just remembered? They need to put in the Angry Beavers.
Yes, they do. Angry Beavers. What? Is Ren and Stimpy Nickelodeon?
Yeah, they're in it already.
Okay,
they were
good.
In the first one.
Good.
They were in the first one, and so is Powdered Toast Man.
This game rules.
Yeah,
I love this game.
Even though, unfortunately, we always have to caveat now. One of the Ren and Stimpy creators is a total shithead now.
He is, but Billy West took over for the voice,
yeah.
I believe, of Ren's, and he's way better.
Yeah. And Reptar's in it. They don't have. They didn't put. And my suspicion is they didn't put any of the Rugrats themselves or Jimmy Neutron in the first game because they don't want to see babies get punched in their game.
Cowards.
Seems like, yeah. But Jimmy Neutron's in this one now. Still no Rugrats except for Reptar, but yeah, I'm very excited. Shockingly excited.
I'm gonna play a lot of this game.
Quick Activision roundup. Sony finally signed the deal. That deal that Microsoft offered to everybody and Sony refused to sign, they finally signed it. So they now have Call of Duty for the next 10 years.
Funny how it's directly after the trial.
Yeah, no shit. Like, they saw the writing on the wall. It was over. They had almost no leverage left. As a matter of fact, it seems like they had lost a lot that was originally offered to them. It seemed like Microsoft was originally willing to offer them all Activision games, and now it's just Call of Duty. Even though, obviously, look, they're not going to stop supporting Diablo 4 and Overwatch and shit on PlayStation. But, if there's a new Crash Bandicoot 5, when that inevitably happens, I don't think that'll be on PlayStation.
Probably not.
Or Switch, for that matter.
I do feel like that will be... I do believe Phil when he says it's a case-by-case basis. Because I'm not going to put my 100% belief in this. I feel like there is a possibility of a future where Starfield is on the next PlayStation console. Ooh. Not this one, obviously, but it could happen. I'm not going to say it's going to happen because it probably, I'm probably wrong, but it's not
I'm skeptical.
Crazy. Yeah, there's reason to be skeptical. I'm just saying I think that he is not lying when he says it's case by case.
Yeah, I don't think he's lying, but I think, what he's talking about are old remasters. Like, they did Quake Remastered, they put that on PlayStation. Yeah. And supposedly at QuakeCon this year, they're doing Quake 2 Remastered. I bet that'll be on PlayStation.
They should remaster 4, too.
Yeah. I think old remasters are fine. And, of course, support for Elder Scrolls Online and Diablo 4 and shit like that. But I don't expect new games to be there. But hey, maybe I'll. In 10 years from now, when this deal's up, who knows what the landscape will look like.
I'm worried that Phil Spencer is going to one day find out Elder Scrolls Online is still happening. He's like, pull the plug on that.
But the other thing about this also, of course, is whoever takes over after Phil, which will probably be Sarah Bond. Maybe she thinks about this totally differently. Who knows?
Yeah.
10 years is a long time. A lot of things could change. Blizzard games are coming to Steam, starting with Overwatch 2, which, I expected all Blizzard games on Steam after they were acquired by Microsoft, but that hasn't happened yet, and it's still, they're coming earlier than I expected, I guess. And they've also said, hey, that it sounds like, they didn't say every game, but it sounds like more games are coming. They didn't name any others besides Overwatch 2. Now, Overwatch 2, of course, is kind of hurting right now, so that seems to be the reason that they lead off with that. They need all the players they can get at this point. But tell me, do you think World of Warcraft's ever going to come to Steam? That'd be nuts.
I don't know how they do it, though, because, like, all they could do is put the launcher on there, technically, right?
I don't know enough to say for sure, but I do know that, like, you're still going to have a Battle.net ID, just like you do for, like, Xbox Live, in order to play this through Steam. I don't think it'll launch Battle.net, but you'll need to have your Steam ID tied to a Battle.net
I know
ID.
for a while you had to have Battle.net to play Destiny 2. So I wonder how that worked when they brought it over. I'm sure it'll be similar to that. But World of Warcraft on Steam, I have no idea. Or so I could see, but like Battle.net going away is kind of crazy to me. So
it's not going away.
I don't know.
It's not going away, at least not yet. I mean, I do kind of think that, hey, Microsoft closed the Bethesda launcher. Maybe someday they will close Battle.net. Or maybe, better yet, they'll close the Xbox app and move everything over to Battle.net. Because Battle.net seems kind of better than...
It's better.
At least, I don't play PC games, but that's what I hear, is that Battle.net is a lot better. Or find some way to combine them, move a lot of those Battle.net people over to the Xbox app and just make the Xbox app more like Battle.net. I don't know. There's a lot. They're going to have sort of a launcher problem at Microsoft pretty soon. The sequel to Immortals Fenyx Rising has been canceled, which was supposed to be sort of a Polynesian-themed vibe, I guess. Ubisoft is tightening belts. They're going to be laying off a lot of people, it seems like. They feel like they would also like to be acquired, but they just got too many damn people. And they are moving most of this team over to support for Assassin's Creed because Assassin's Creed needs 1,000 iterations, apparently.
This is just the Call of Duty problem. They're replicating Activision's problems.
Absolutely. Yeah, as soon as Assassin's Creed... has a down year, they're going to be in real trouble. I mean, they already are kind of in trouble. Things are not looking great over at Ubisoft. That being said, Star Wars, what the hell is it called? Outlaws looks really good.
That's great.
Prince of Persia side-scroller looks great.
That thing looks really cool.
Some people are excited about the Avatar game, not me, but,
Yeah, those perverts.
But I would have liked, even though I don't think Immortals Fenyx Rising was an outstanding game, a lot of times games nail it on the second iteration, right?
I really like that first game. I don't think it's incredible or anything, but I really enjoy playing it. Like, it's a really fun game, and I was really looking forward to the sequel. And now Ubisoft came over and kicked me in the nuts. So, yeah. But like,
I also feel, and I think they've even said this in like some of their financial calls, that they cancel a lot of games that we don't even hear about over at Ubisoft. Like, hey, how about Beyond Good and Evil 2? Is that still...
Well, that's not canceled, technically.
I mean, it's shit, someday.
Might as well be.
How about Skull and Bones?
Fuck. Well, they signed a stupid deal with the government.
I know, they can't cancel that.
So stupid.
Things are turbulent at Ubisoft. As Capcom rises, Ubisoft falls. It's like the inverse of last gen.
Well, thank God.
Yeah, that's true. Call of Duty 2024, next year's Call of Duty is seemingly set in the Gulf War.
Cool.
Yep.
I mean, not cool, but
Yeah, I hear. The 360, we talked about those. The matchmaking on Gears, Call of Duty, and Shadowrun's fixed. Is there any other, 360 multiplayer games that you would all of a sudden like to see the matchmaking work again?
Oh, man. That's a good question.
I know I just sprung that on you, sorry.
Oh. Because there's a lot I played that I was really loved. I can't think of anything right now, but there's a lot of 360 games that I can think of right now that I would I would love to see. I played a lot of the I think it was Chaos Theory that had multiplayer.
Chaos Theory had it, and Pandora Tomorrow had it. They both
Yeah,
did.
I think the Chaos Theory one I played a lot with my little brother, and we loved that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. They, Ubisoft went through, and I check it every once in a while because I always get confused which ones it is. They've closed some servers on some Splinter Cell games and some Ghost Recon games. I don't remember which ones for sure. But yeah, I would love that. Supposedly, you know, they're doing that remake. Speaking of, like, hey, games they might cancel.
Oh, that game's canceled.
Yeah, I know. The director already left, so who knows. But as of now, officially, they are doing a remake of the first Splinter Cell.
Will they cancel Cross-Defiant?
X-Defiant?
X-Defiant.
I don't... X-Defiant's getting positive buzz now.
Really?
Out of those betas, people really seem to like it.
It's a neat idea. I'll give them that. That is a really cool idea.
I think X-Defiant stock is on the rise, shockingly.
The X-Defiant heads rise up.
Yes. EA officially announced the long-rumored, long-leaked Black Panther single-player game from a new studio, Cliffhanger, which is formed by ex-Monolith people, the Shadow of War people.
Cool.
We pretty much knew all this except the name of the studio. We knew ex-Monolith people were starting a studio within EA. We didn't know the name was Cliffhanger. But now it's all official. It's happening, and great. Like, I imagine their Iron Man game from the Dead Space team.
EA
Yes, Motive. I imagine that'll be first, but for a company that 10 years ago or so said single-player games are dead, EA's doing a lot of them now.
And their single-player games are really good, surprisingly.
Yeah, people liked Dead Space.
It's funny, the Dead Space game, because you play that, and there are sections of the game, they're like, oh, these guys could totally make Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good.
Jedi Survivor is the other one I was thinking of. They are definitely doubling down on licensed IP, Star Wars and
I think
Marvel
it's smart.
here.
I really do.
Yeah. It's a time where a lot of the industry is going back to that because games are getting so goddamn expensive to make. Like, they don't want to take big bets.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get back to that eventually. Like, it's just like, right now, it's like
games need to shrink.
Yeah.
But that being said, hey, Avengers flopped and Guardians of the Galaxy flopped, so it's not a guarantee.
Midnight Suns flopped.
Yeah,
despite me loving that game.
That game's so good, and apparently Guardians of the Galaxy is good too. I didn't play it. Guardians of the Galaxy was in the wrong genre. That game.
I don't know. I feel like it needed more money, for sure. They should have put more money into it.
My feeling is if you're doing a single hero game, like Black Panther, single player game, totally fine. If you're doing a team game, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, X-Men, you gotta have co-op. You just gotta.
I don't know. I really like the way that game's written, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to sacrifice that game's story for gameplay, to be honest with you, because it's the main selling point.
You can still do story with co-op.
yeah. I just look at that. I'm like, I don't want to touch it because I really love that game.
Yeah. Also, is Star-Lord the one you want to be playing as mostly?
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay.
For me personally, I really like Star-Lord.
I mean, I like Star-Lord plenty, but like I'd rather be Rocket. If it's
I get the appeal. I just like because like that game's funny because like I really love Star-Lord as a character, and it's like. The movie, as I've always been like back and forth on, I'm like, well, it's not the Star-Lord that I like in the comics. And then the game is like, here's the Star-Lord you love. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I love that.
I don't know. I need to play it. But I was just so mad when they revealed it.
Yeah, it is very strange. It's not a 4-player game.
I was so pissed about that I just avoided the whole thing. But eventually, I guess I need to do it. It's still on Game Pass, I believe. It used to be, for sure. Mm-hmm. Sega of America has voted to unionize.
Good.
Yep. The Borderlands movie's been given a release date of August 9th. Now, there was initially a story that the writer of the movie had decided to take his name off it.
He's under a pseudonym.
Well, he denied that. He said
denied.
The guy who they said was doing it said, no, I had nothing to do with that. That's not me at all. I don't know who it said. I never worked on this movie. That's not me. I don't know what it is. So now there's a name who's credited as writing this movie who nobody knows who it is.
That means it's a pseudonym. That's not a good sign at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. Here's the thing. I actually like Borderlands a lot, a whole lot, but I don't need a movie.
I don't either. I also don't need Randy Pitchford in Hollywood. That just scares me a lot.
Well, hey, at least he's not making games now.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people who like are still down on Gearbox. Like, Randy's not making the games there anymore.
And honestly, the games are good.
I know. And that's like, all right. So, look, here's my hot take. I get it with Randy Pitchford, why people are so driven crazy by him. I don't think he's as bad as a lot of people say.
No, he's definitely not. He's just like he's
douchey.
He's a douche who can't stop putting his foot in his mouth. That's just who he is.
Yeah. I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's terrible. He's just kind of douchey. Which,
hey,
people say that about me.
Yeah. We're all a little douchey. It's okay.
That's right. Yeah. Limited Run Games is bringing back Tomba, Gex, Clock Tower, Shantae Advance, and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Shantae Advance, if people don't know, was a Game Boy Advance game 10 years ago that they canceled right before release. It never came out, and now it's finally coming out. Yeah. Ooh. So it's coming out early next year. So in next year's draft for Fantasy Critic, you can bid on it.
I'm taking Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Sorry,
you can't bid on that. That's a port. Has to be a new game, but Shantae Advance counts as a new game.
Okay, then they gotta make Plumbers Don't Wear Ties too.
Tomba, I thought was Sony owned, but I apparently not.
It's not. That game is that first one. I never played Tomba 2. Or is there Tomba 2? I might be thinking of Croc 2. But
I think there is.
Tomba 1 is actually highly underrated in my opinion. I really liked that when I played it when I was younger.
Yeah. How about Gex?
Gex is Gex.
There is a Tomba 2. Tomba 2, the evil swine return.
Yeah. Gex is Gex.
Yeah. All right. Clock Tower, I don't know how I got a demo of Clock Tower. I guess it came with a magazine or something.
I have a hot take.
Well, quick before that, my friend and I played it at a sleepover, this demo over and over. It scared the ever-living shit out of us, that big scissor dude.
Yep.
I hated it. What's your hot take?
I fucking hate Clock Tower. I really don't like those games. I think they're terrible. Even though that they're technically what inspired Resident Evil. I think those games are awful.
Yeah, that is weird to think about. I always, that's probably both, but I always think of Alone in the Dark as the prequel.
Yeah, that is like the first survival horror game. Yeah. And I
always forget.
I played a lot of Alone in the Dark games.
I was gonna say, I always forget we got a new one coming this year still.
Yeah, and it's got not David Harbour. David Harbour? Is that him? Is that his name?
Is he in it?
Hellboy is in the game.
Oh no, that's
Hold on, let me.
That's not David Harbour.
That's David Harbour.
It's not David Harbour. I mean, Hellboy isn't.
He played Hellboy recently. Yes, David Harbour. Oh, he is Edward Carnby.
The recent one.
He is.
Go ahead.
David Harbour is in the Alone in the Dark game. He's playing Edward Carnby, and I think I forget who the lady is, but they had two major.
I did not know that. I was thinking of Ron Perlman when you said Hellboy.
No, it's David Harbour and Jodie Comer are in the game.
Interesting. Yeah, that's coming soon. And I feel like it's one where we just it's getting overlooked because this year is so crazy.
I'm pretty excited for it. To be honest.
Lightspeed Studios, who owns Tencent, who is owned by Tencent.
Whoa.
It's funny, I never heard of Lightspeed Studios until this, but I actually don't even know what they do. But they acquired Lucid Games, who was the maker of Destruction All Stars.
Oh.
And they were doing the new Twisted Metal that's coming out, but Sony apparently didn't like what they were doing and ripped it away from them.
That is so depressing.
I know. And also, Sony has acquired a majority share. They didn't acquire the company, but now they own the majority share of Techland, makers of Dying Light. So Tencent out there still doing their thing, making moves. Major Nelson is retiring, or maybe not retiring, but at least he's leaving Xbox after 22 years.
He's going to Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. He was kind of the first of his kind. You know, now it feels like every company has a guy like him. You know, because they all do their own now. Ubisoft Connects and EA Play shows, and of course Nintendo Directs and everything. So they all need like a host, right? Which is kind of what Major Nelson is. I mean, like, I'm sure he does stuff we don't see too. Obviously, most of his work is behind the scenes, but like his public-facing job is mostly like he's the party host of Xbox, and he's been doing it he's been there since the beginning, 22 years.
It's a good job to have, honestly.
Yeah. And he, like, you don't hear many negative things about him. He always seemed like a real solid, good dude. Who has been around in my, you know, a weird sort of peripheral part of my life for a long time now. So, yeah, I don't know. That's good on him.
Yeah, good for him.
3 cheers for Major Nelson, and excited to see what he does next. I'm wearing the shirts for the Patapon because they are sort of coming back. So it's not Patapon, but the Patapon creator is kickstarting a new game that looks a whole lot like, guess what? Patapon. It's called Ratatan. They've now released 2 trailers, 1 gameplay, and yeah, it is Patapon in all but name. In the same way, you know, Castlevania or Bloodstain was Castlevania, and Mighty Number 9 was Mega Man, except bad. So that's coming, and which is very exciting to me. I like Patapon. I'm not good at it, but I love it.
I'm going to make a confession. I've never played a Patapon game.
Okay. That's fine. I thought your confession was going to be, I hate Patapon.
No. I have never played one.
Well, 1 and 2 are remastered on PS4 and 5. Although, there's a weird, there's like a, not lag, but just kind of a, playing it on a home console, the timing is weird. It's like, remember when they remastered Parappa and just the timing feels a little strange?
Yeah.
Patapon's kind of like that, unfortunately. It works better in a handheld. We don't know the consoles for this yet. Yeah, I think, you know, it's Kickstarter, so, and it comes, they released a couple days. I'm sure there'll be stretch goals that hopefully comes to everything.
I imagine it's coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox. Like, that's like their goals, I bet. I
would think Switch, too, would be a big thing for them. Yeah,
or whatever the next Switch is.
Yeah, that's true. And if it's backwards compatible, they probably will just do a Switch version. Same way like indie games now don't release a Series X version. They just release an Xbox One version, and you can play it on Series X. Yeah, that's exciting to me. And Greg Miller, he'll be excited too.
Yeah.
And nobody else will care. Xbox Live Gold is dead. Long live Xbox Game Pass Core, which is Xbox Live Gold in all but name. So this is mostly just a name change, because most of your details here are staying the same. Price is staying the same. Game Pass Core gets you online multiplayer, but rather now than get you 2 free games a month, it gets you 1 catalog of 25 games. And they haven't named the full catalog yet, but most of the catalog that they've talked about sounds pretty damn good. Psychonauts 2 is in there. Halo Wars 2, Halo 5, I think. To pull up the full list. But it's actually a pretty damn solid list, which, you know, Games with Gold has not been so solid recently. Yeah. There have been a couple of really cool indie games in there, but mostly not so great. I got the full list in front of me now. You want the whole thing?
Yeah, let's list them off. Let's do it.
Okay. Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on each one of these. Verbally, of course. Among Us.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs up?
Thumbs down.
Oh, wow. I'll say thumbs up, even though I've never even played it, but just, you know, it's a big game. Descenders, thumbs up.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to go thumbs in the middle.
It's a downhill biking game. It's really, really fun.
Ooh, that sounds neat. Thumbs up.
It's really fun. It's been on Game Pass forever. It's, you know, it's the guy, you know, Mike Rose, the guy who does No More Robots is his publishing label. And he's always the guy who's like first out there when anybody in the industry attacks Game Pass. He's always like, Game Pass is the best thing for us, my company in the world. He's like the #1 defender of it.
It sounds cool. I might check that out, actually.
Dishonored 2.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Doom Eternal.
Thumbs all the way up.
Thumbs up. Fable Anniversary.
Thumbs up.
Fallout 4.
Thumbs up.
Fallout 76.
Thumbs up for me.
Forza Horizon 4.
I don't know if I played 4.
4 was
is that the most recent one?
No. It's Australia?
Nope, never played that one.
Okay. Still, hey, Forza Horizon games are always
Forza's
good, right?
fun.
Yeah. Gears 5, thumbs up.
Thumbs in the middle. I have no strong opinion either way.
I love Gears so much. Grounded, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I played a lot of Grounded.
Halo 5, Guardians, thumbs up, especially for the multiplayer.
Thumbs up for the multiplayer. Thumbs down for the campaign.
Yeah, although I don't even know now if the multiplayer servers are, now that, Halo Infinite's out, who's playing the multiplayer. Maybe those will get people back in it. Halo Wars 2, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Human Fall Flat, thumbs up, mostly.
Yeah, I've had a fun time with that game. Thumbs up.
Inside. Oh, here's a hot take.
I'm going to say thumbs up for everyone else. I'm going to say thumbs down for me, not my thing.
Honestly, some of these games that I'm giving thumbs up to are not really my thing, but like, hey, it's popular, it's good, it reviews well. Like, yeah, it's a good game, just not really something I'm going to play. Ori the Will-o-Wisp, double thumbs up.
That's a thumbs up. That game's great.
Psychonauts 2, double thumbs up.
Double thumbs up, yep.
Stage of Decay 2, thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up.
That game is still getting new content.
And it's fun. That game is really fun.
It is. I hope for State of Decay 3 they smooth out some of the co-op stuff, because that was a little clunky. But yeah. And then finally, Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited.
Double thumbs up.
This happens on, I just closed it, which I probably shouldn't have until I saw the date. I think it's September 1st, I want to say. But here's the... one other thing I will say is, like, that's not the full list of games. I bet you Crash Team Rumble is part of it, because that game needs help once the acquisition goes through. But they're now running into a problem of this being a little complicated, because Game Pass Core includes multiplayer, but not the full Game Pass catalog. For $1 more, you get Game Pass for console, which includes the full Game Pass catalog, but not multiplayer. So, yeah, it's... Plus, of course, there's, Game Pass for PC, which is a whole another can of worms. Yeah. Now they have, basically 4 options, and just mostly between core and console is getting a little strange. I wonder if that's by design, because they don't want you on those. They want you on Ultimate. Yeah. Like, really. They just want people to say, fuck it, I don't want to think about it, just give me Ultimate. Which is still a good deal. I think people, that's what I'm on. I think that's what I would recommend.
Well, I think eventually they could try, like, cross-promotion and be like, hey, you get the $1 deal if you go to Ultimate, or, like, whatever.
They have brought back the $1 deal now. They've gotten rid of the thing where you can convert all your Xbox Live Gold into Ultimate. You can still convert like 2/3 of it, but not 1-to-1. But the $1 deal's back. The other thing, this can be kind of a branding problem, because Game Pass Core says Game Pass, right? Well, now when they say, hey, you can play Starfield day one with Game Pass, that's not true for Game Pass Core people.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know how they're going to have to start wording that and say, hey, play it day one with Game Pass, but not Core. It's weird. But we're at the point now, it drives me crazy that if you have Game Pass for PC, you're not paying for online, but if you're playing it on console, you are. Like, it just feels like they're not treating all their customers equally. Just make multiplayer free, right? Yeah. We're past that shit. Like, I know that it's a lot of money for them. It's easy for me to say, but goddamn, like, it sucks to see how they're, like, just to be on console and not feel like they value you as much at this point. I don't know. I think I wrote down the name of the store wrong, but yeah, Tesco. Tesco's the name of the store. It's a grocery store in the UK that sells video games. Well, they no longer do. They're getting rid of physical video games. Is this just another sign that physical video games are a thing of the past?
Out. Which for me personally, I'm looking at, like, yesterday I was looking at all the discs I own, and I was like, maybe this is for the best. Maybe I don't need more shit in my apartment.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't buy physical games anymore. Every once in a while on Switch, if there's a good deal, I will. But on both PlayStation and Xbox, I game share with Lisa. My digital library is her digital library.
Yeah, so I don't like, for me, the big thing is Steam, because Steam is, like, part of the fun of having Steam is looking at how big your Steam library can get.
Sure.
And it's like, Oh, like I purchase games that are on sale that I will not play for many years, but I own them.
Absolutely. I do the same on consoles. I even do it on Steam, even though I don't play Steam very much. But yeah, absolutely. On Steam sales, I go through that shit. And yeah. And PlayStation seems to be like they're getting rid... Well, not getting rid of, but they're putting their disc drive as a separate purchase soon. They will only sell consoles without disc drives, and you have to buy the disc drive separately and attach it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, all the signs of that. What's that?
I said, okay, that's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, that's what they're going to. That's why they're trying to clear out PlayStation 5 stocks. Now, it apparently will, like, the way it attaches will look seamless. It's kind of molded that way, but, hey, we'll see. We're supposed to be getting that this year at some point. Good Shepherd. I don't really know who that is, but I assume they own this IP that we're about to talk about. They formed a partnership with Rebellion, who are the makers of Sniper Elite and Zombie Army Trilogy. They're going to create games based off the 2000 AD universe, which I didn't know what that was at first, but I looked it up, and it includes Judge Dredd.
Yes.
Most importantly.
2000 AD is a British, I believe it's a magazine that publishes comics. They have Judge Dredd and a bunch of other stuff.
Judge Dredd, Rogue Trooper, ABC Warrior, and more.
So,
as well as Rebellion's other comic IP, including Roy of the Rovers and Battle Action.
So ABC Warriors is the one I'm most excited about because I love that shit. They're just big giant robots who fight each other. Give me more games with giant robots. I
imagine Judge Dredd is the lead off here. It's the biggest one, right? Because of Sylvester Stallone mostly. Yeah, so that's cool. Also, in similar news, Atomic Arcade, who is a new independent studio, is making a Snake Eyes game from G.I. Joe.
I love it.
Very, very early.
So, people who listen to Phantom Zone know that I'm a big G.I. Joe fan.
Okay.
I am so excited for this game. Snake Eyes is the coolest shit, and I've always wanted a video game with Snake Eyes.
There's just those last two stories just go to show, like, about we're getting back into big license games. That's gonna be a thing for a while, which, I'm not opposed to at all.
As long as they're good, I don't really care.
Yeah. Gundam Evolution is closing at the end of November.
Ooh.
It's a little, so kind of with Overwatch hurting, I kind of had thought, hey, maybe Gundam Evolution could carve out a niche, but I haven't heard anybody talk about this game like since it launched, and it sounds like a totally fine game. It doesn't sound like it's bad at all or anything. It just didn't catch on.
From what I understand, a lot of Gundam freaks love this game, and it's not a lot of like casuals or signing up. I think the Gundam like tag on it is very intimidating for people who don't know Gundam.
I was thinking, what if this were Transformers?
If it were Transformers, I think this would be a different story. I don't know if it'd be extremely successful, but I think it wouldn't be shut down within a year.
Yeah, and they would have to also then figure out a way to incorporate vehicles into the Overwatch formula. But yeah, that would have been. Yeah, it's a shame. You don't want to see this happen, especially now with this closing and Overwatch taking a turn for the worse. Like, this genre seems to be kind of hurting now. And I know, like, a couple years ago, everybody was sick of hero shooters. I wasn't. I like those games. Although Team Fortress 2 now apparently is stronger than ever, which is weird. But then you got to be on PC for that. The Miz said he was very, very sad that he's not going to be Johnny Cage.
I'm not.
Me neither. I'm not. I'm sad this whole movie's happening.
Me too.
I hated that first one so goddamn much.
That first one, I will say, for as bad as it is, it does have cool little moments, like the fact that Scorpion's kunai is like a spear. It's like a gardening tool. I thought that was really cool. And then the rest of the movie happens, and you're like, well.
Oh man, I would honestly prefer to watch MK Annihilation over that fucking last movie.
That first Mortal Kombat movie is actually so dope.
Yeah, it absolutely is. God, that made me mad. That was a movie I was fucking furious about for a week after I saw it, and I don't get that way often. I was feeling like the Last Jedi people who were on Twitter and shit constantly.
See, I'm very vocal about my dislike for Mortal Kombat, but like. That movie is offensively bad at times.
Yeah. So I wish this movie wasn't happening at all, but it is, and it's not Johnny Cage. It's Carl Urban, and Or I'm sorry, it's not The Miz. It's Carl Urban and Johnny Jeez, John. I was about to say Johnny Cage is upset. The Miz is upset. Whatever. Cry more, Miz. Emulators on Xbox is really, really, really dead now. Users who are caught uploading emulators to the store are now being banned from Xbox Live. Yeah. Yep.
I think
that's that.
Microsoft is afraid of another trial. They don't.
Yeah. Well, they signed this deal with Nintendo to make Call of Duty happen there. Like they don't want a bad relationship.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. So and honestly, like, it sucks. The world's worse off for it, but I don't really blame them that much. Like, it doesn't really do anything for Microsoft and Xbox to allow these things.
No, they're not making any money off it. So like, what's the point?
And it just makes you liable to legal problems and ruining a relationship with Nintendo. That's all the news. That was a lot. Well, we talked about a lot of games, talked about a lot of news. Yep.
That was a lot of games and news.
Anything else you want to hit? What are you planning on playing like for the next episode?
Well,
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate, I'll be playing that. A lot of that. I just downloaded Civ 6, so I might play a little bit of that.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
I have Civ 6 on PC and Switch, and I haven't played it either place yet.
I love Civ games. Civ games are so much fun.
Yeah, it looks like it. I need to do more. What else is coming out soon? Atlas Fallen's coming out on the 10th, which that game I'm kind of excited for. I could see it. I could see it going either way, but I'm very curious about it. They also announced an update to Broforce is coming out.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I'm pretty excited about that.
It's coming August 8th, and it's going to be on Game Pass. Also, one thing I didn't know about that until they announced this, they had put in online to Broforce, so I'm going to
Broforce is so good.
That.
I love that game.
I've only played a little bit, but I liked it. Moving Out 2 is on the 15th. Yeah, there's some other stuff. Yeah, so we'll talk about all that next episode and whatever else news hits. Hunter, where can they find you? Where can they listen to you?
You can find me on Threads at young_Kame. You can find me on Twitter, Mango Sentinel. You can listen to Phantom Zone and Comic Club. Comic Club's on a bit of a break because I'm just too busy to kind of do it right now, unfortunately.
Are you streaming yet?
I'm going to be streaming soon, but I'm also building a new PC, and it's going to be better for streaming, so I'm kind of like holding off until that's done.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting time when that's done and I can actually stream. So
yeah, we'll look forward to that. I'm at Freshly Streamed Games on YouTube. I've pretty much given up on Twitch. I moved all my streaming stuff over to YouTube. So look me up there, and TikTok, Instagram, all the other places, but mostly YouTube. I have been streaming some Remnant and some Pikmin. I will probably do more, although I've also been playing a lot of Remnant off stream. But I should get back, especially like when I'm about to finish that game. I'll definitely stream the finale and probably my second run through of that game because there's so much more to do. And then I want to do Pikmin more. And those other games you just mentioned, I'll probably stream some Broforce with Lisa. I'll probably stream Atlas Fallen with Lisa, unless Atlas Fallen is a disaster. But look forward to that. And we shall see you later.
Bye.
Goodbye.